everybody, and welcome to the Real Writers of the OC, where we interview writers from all over Orange County. It is the beautiful sunset of Laguna Beach behind me. If you're a reader or a writer or just want to talk about ideas or the creative process, keep listening. We are just like the Housewives, except much less spin-offs. All right, I'm so excited to have this writer here today. She's a wonderful writer. She also happens to be my human mother. And besides that, she is the writer of the children's book, Lucky the Left Paw Puppy. She's the author of an allegory called Polly and the Measuring Stick. She has 3 pieces. And if I count right, I think she's the only one with 3 pieces in The Truth That Can't Be Told. And most excitingly, she has her very first novel coming out September 20th called Falling Idols. We're going to have to look for that. So everybody, welcome Billie Kelpin. Hi, Billie. How are you?
Hi, Bethany. Thank you for having me.
It would be so weird me calling you Billie here. I mean, I've made it less weird because I call you Billie all the time.
To my chagrin.
I know. So Billie, let's talk about, you have 3 pieces in here. I don't want to spend so much time on them, but I want to talk about, you have a piece in here called Sylvia, which is just such a twisty piece, and everybody has to read it. I don't want to give anything away, but just tell me a little bit about the genesis of that short story.
Like a lot of the writing that I do, I like to take things that happen to me in real life and turn them around. Sometimes it like a choose your own adventure. This was the way it was, but what if it were another way? And that's how I turn some of the real life experiences into fiction. So I really did meet a student that I thought was unusual, and I thought I understood the reason why she was unusual. But to this day, while this version shows that the teacher does understand for certain the cause, other versions are not as clear. It's kind of an apology piece as well, because in real life, the end of that story was that we moved away, and I never did find out what happened.
Oh, interesting.
So a lot of my writing too gives me closure, and different closure, and a closure where my protagonist can be a hero. And
that's interesting that you put it like that, because I'm sure there's many other writers who do write that way, but I like how you put it, like it's a choose your own adventure. Like I'm making my memories a choose your own adventure. I'll just do it this way.
You're right.
It's a great story, and it's freaky, and so people need to read it, and it's freakier knowing that this was a real occurrence. I'll move on to No One Tells the Truth, which I really loved, especially the ending of that. And just like, I don't know, just without giving the whole thing, just talk about the theme of that, because I think the theme of that piece really goes in line with the name of the book and the theme of the anthology.
Well, as the Lake Forest Writers Roundtable was writing and submitting, and I thought about The Truth That Can't Be Told, and I thought that the real truth really can't be told in many situations of our life. It can be told in fiction and so on, but the real truth of life and what we really tell each other. And probably during the pandemic too, we had to be very careful. We didn't tell the truth of how we felt in 2020 about a lot of things, and just to save face. So that was kind of the inspiration for that. The things people don't tell each other, but these were little things, funny things. And I wanted to make it humorous based on my mother and my Aunt Marion, who loved each other. But my cousin and I knew how they felt about each other and things that they never told each other, but
Well,
they told us.
that's why I liked it so. That's why I thought it went with the title of the book so much, "The Truth That Can't Be Told," because it was not only people. It was not only about people hiding their truth, but it was also about truths that are unspoken and that everybody knows anyway.
And that's what that, oh, I'm glad you caught that. That was what I intended at the end, that they
Yeah.
really knew each other, felt that way. You know, you have, you know, you'd be very surprised if somebody felt a different way than you think about. But and so they really knew and they loved each other, you know,
Right.
and that was the whole thing with the ending was the way they talked about each other, the way my Aunt Marion talked about my mother after she was gone, and how my mother said she's my best friend.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It like really spoke to both sides of truth and unspoken truth. Um, let's talk about Falling Idols because it's your very first novel and it's coming out so soon. So tell me, I know from knowing you that you've been working on it for a long time, and this is coming to the end. So it's the culmination of a lot of work. Just tell me, how you started writing it, when you started writing it, your process of writing, anything about the book.
There's a process to writing.
I've asked that question a lot, and I think that's the best answer so far.
Yeah, I wish I had gone about this because in a process way, and I am learning to discipline myself to actually shaping a story at the beginning. So, and getting a feeling for the arc and so on, because I had over 100,000 words that were actually two stories. And then I broke them up, which was really difficult to separate them. You know, they were intertwined, and then I had to separate in a lot of rewriting. And when I separated them and put this one into Falling Idols, and if I do the next one in the series, it will be called If Not for War. So this is about the Vietnam era. So again, I'm using some of life experiences, but very, very loosely based on things. There's people that you might recognize in there, but not really. So it's truly a fictionalized version of what happened. And when I decided to separate the two and decide that this one was going to be about the protagonist's journey in sign language, and in teaching deaf and hard of hearing students, that's based on my life. I decided, I realized that what was going on during Vietnam were a lot of silent revolutions, because it wasn't only the civil rights movement, it was civil rights, it was Vietnam, it was the Catholic Church, everything. And I say in the novel, it was in the zeitgeist. There was just that feeling that was permeating. And it permeated into a tiny revolution in the field of deafness. And I chose to write about that.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and because I've read bits of it along the way, but I think that that's, and I've said this to you, but I think that young people might very much relate to this, because I think there's certain elements with COVID and Black Lives Matter and the women's movement and there's a certain, like, there's a lot happening right now. And I think that's very relatable for people. I know it's not the same, and I know it's not the same things, but it does feel now like a time of kind of like a lot going on and a lot coming at us.
I think it's really a lot the same, and it's harder. That time was hard. This time is more confusing. If I were, as a personally, to evaluate the both were very, very difficult times. But there was something about the mood, of the age of Aquarius. So there was that thrown in there, that you had some kind of purpose to the whole thing, and some kind of higher element to it. You were raised above it. There was a morality about it that was really an examination of conscience, if you will, that was going on in the nation, in the world during that time. And that's happening right now.
Well, that's so cool. And I think people are going to be really, really interested in that. Let me go back a little bit when you're talking about your process and how difficult it is to take all these stories intertwine and then unintertwine them. I think anybody listening who is just beginning to write, I think some of the hardest parts can be after the first draft and trying to rework all that. How did you kind of get through that?
With a lot of help from my friends and understanding that that I needed to isolate myself, and my husband Mike was just a knight in shining armor during this time, and the physical process of doing it, I used a lot of software aid like Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid. I went to Fiverr for a beta reader who did developmental editing. The line editing, before I actually launch in September, I'm still doing a lot more line editing. The plot is going to remain the same no matter for what it's worth. It will be what it is. Just because there's a point where you have to say, this is done.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good message, because I know screenwriters who are like, I've been working on this screenplay for 20 years. And I'm like, we gotta finish this thing. I think like it's good. I think like sometime, I don't know. That's a fine line between how that's a fine creative process line between how long it itself wants it to take and how long and when you can just say it has to be this.
Yeah, you can work anything to perfection, and you'll never find perfection. So you have to get it out there and let it be what it is. And go on with the next thing.
Yeah, I think that is such a great message. That is such a great message. Before we wrap up, I'm just going to mention some of the other things you have behind you. You've also created Stories to Go, which is an audio essay series, and also the Perfect Husband app, which is little snippets of it's information, husbands, for how to be perfect. And I have a fiance, so I need it. So all you husbands need it. All right, Billie, thank you so much for joining us. You can go to billiekelpin.com to find out when the launch of this book, and when Folly Idols comes out, where are we going to be able to get it?
At Amazon and any of the digital stores, and in print. It will be in print on demand, and just the classic places that you get books nowadays.
I know. I always go to Amazon because they print me a book. Also, you can get The Truth That Can't Be Told. And get Falling Idols when it comes out. I will not be ordering it from Amazon because she is my mother. And if she doesn't give me a copy, something's very, very wrong. But all the rest of you all order on Amazon or wherever else you get books. It'll be out September 20th. Billie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bethany. I had a wonderful time.
We'll see y'all next time. Bye.